So I thought I'd do a quick live video today for my journal entry. I have been on a journey for the past little bit more than 2 years. I've got, I think, 38 more weeks left until kind of my first goal deadline that my trainer and I put together. My trainer, my coach, is Marcel Zaborek. He'll be tagged on this as well. But seriously, my life has changed more than I can tell you in this last 2 years. And I started in the beginning wondering if it would work this time. So I started gaining weight. When I was a little boy, I was teeny tiny. I was born prematurely. I was a runt my whole life as a little boy. And then I had some traumatic stuff happen to me in the family, and or not in the family, but traumatic external from the family. We had some trauma inside the family as well, which is a long story for another day. But that stuff, I started to kind of shield myself from the world using food, and I ended up, my scale in my bathroom at the time, at my peak, it peaked out at 365 pounds. And the scale, you know how, like, between the mark and the bar, there's a distance between that, and you could calculate somewhat, that was like another 40, 50 pounds. But my last time I was on a doctor's scale in those poundages, I was 400 pounds. So I ended up yo-yo dieting between forcing myself to throw up, not eating anything, binging, super unhealthy. And largely as a result of my unhealthy lifestyle, I've had hernias that I've had 18 hernias, 13 surgeries. I had stage 1 cancer. I had Barrett's esophagus. I had a hole in I think it was my right lung from aspirating at night. Yeah, it was my right lung. And I've had countless problems and doctor visits and everything, to the point where I had 32 ulcers in my esophagus. Really a lot of physical trauma, as well as emotional. But 2 years ago, I was actually talking to my Bible study. That night, I was talking about sin, about the shortfall of our lives. And I'm like, write a book about it. Whatever thing you struggle with, write a book about your sin. Because the minute you can talk publicly about the thing that you're most embarrassed by, the minute it no longer controls you. It no longer has the ability to influence your decisions, because when you bring sin and failure out into light, it withers and dies. When you keep it hidden is when it grows and festers. So, as I was having those words leave my mouth, I ended up feeling like a hypocrite. There's a lot of things I am, but I'm not a hypocrite, I'm not a liar. In fact, I way overshare. But in that moment, I felt like the biggest failure than I can tell you. So at that moment, I knew I had to fix it. So I knew I could get to 200 pounds, and I'd go back up to 250. I'd get to 200 pounds, I'd get to 230. And then I just went back and forth and back and forth. And if I got down to, one time I got down to like 185 pounds, but I was definitely skinny fat. I had no muscle structure, and I was doing it completely unhealthy. I was starving myself to death. And that was during the bulimia time frame. But, and I thought, or at least I think I hid it from everybody, but I was very unhealthy. And that's when I was competing, and I was professionally competing in ballroom dancing, and I didn't want to be embarrassment. Well, it didn't work. I still was skinny fat, and you could tell. And right before one of the competitions, I had one of my competitors come up to me and look me up and down, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you competing? You're fat. You look stupid. You don't look like any of us." And it undermined me seriously. And my dance partner, my professional partner, and my lifelong friend, Christy Melgoza, ended up saying, "Greg, he's trying to get under your skin because he's afraid of you." And we ended up winning that competition. So that she said the right thing at the right moment. But it still was there. And this 2 years ago, when I started this journey, I started an online journal for myself every Thursday morning. I know it seems redundant. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me, for my accountability. I can I can get away with avoiding one person, but I can't get away with avoiding all of you. So I do the journal for me, because not only does it keep me accountable to you, but it also reminds me in the moments of struggle when I'm hurting, or it doesn't feel like I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm overloaded, I can't see the results, whatever it is, it reminds me of where I've come from, what I achieved over this 1 week. And even in a photo from 1 week to the next, I can see a difference. You may not be able to see it, but I can. And that's what matters. So it's really for me. My journal's for me. And I've got a lot of people too that have told me they're encouraged by it. But the thing I want to talk about today in this video, and I was trying to do it fast and it's already becoming not fast. At the gym, I was telling my trainer this morning, at the gym, I'm now to the point where in my journal a few weeks ago, I said that a friend of mine gave me a compliment and said I had a great body. Well, I did not know how to take that, and I was immediately embarrassed, and I poo-pooed the statement and the opinion, and I basically made excuses of why I'm not where I should be, and all my shortcomings, and how I'm not as good as she said. And then I sat there kind of stunned, because I thought she first said it as in jest. I thought she was joking, playful ribbing. And then I realized, because she started defending herself on why she had that opinion, not overtly, but I sat there thinking about it. As the next few minutes passed, I apologized to her for discounting her opinion. So that was a big step for me. But then she's like, well, Greg, you need to get used to it, because you're going to hear it more and more that you've got a great body. And I'm like, well, again, I have a hard time receiving that, but thank you. So since the day she said that, I'm having people stop me in the gym quite literally every time I go, telling me how good I look, and how I've got people saying they want to be me when down the road, and I've got people asking me how long it took me to get here and what I've been doing to be successful. Well, now I've started a new thing where it's like, I had a group of guys the other day that told me, they said, would you mind showing us that exercise you just did, because clearly what you're doing works and we want to do it like you. So they asked me to show them the exercise, and I said, well, I showed them one time, and the whole show tell do. I showed them how to do it. I told them what I was doing, the extremes of where I was going to, the time under tension, the negatives, the peak, all of the full extension, all of the bits. And then I had them do it, and I kind of corrected them as they go, and I'm like, get your elbow all the way up here and turn your elbows in and keep it tight, and flex at the peak and slowly let it release. And so I'm telling all this, and that has started. Every time I go to the gym, somebody's asking me what I'm doing on that exercise to make it work, because clearly it's being effective. So I told Marcel this morning that my whole world has changed. I have better self-confidence than I've ever had. My self-deprivation is going down, and I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just pinching myself. That it talks about time under tension and working out. Well, time under tension isn't just a physical thing. Time under tension is an emotional quotient, where you are constantly growing with time under tension. The tension, the stress, this is why I did this video. The tension and the stress that is provided you through struggles and trials and roadblocks and detours and frustration of not getting what you want, all that stuff is sharpening your edge. It's giving you the tools how to succeed further. But please recognize, and this was the video moment, this is the point I want to make. The detours and the struggles and the strife and the heartache and the disappointments are all there trying to take you off of task. They're trying to get you to the point where you're not going to achieve. They're trying to take you down the road of least resistance. But do not make a mistake. Those things do not hold you back. The only person that is setting you inside the prison cell and living a life of less A life of mediocrity, a life of disappointment, a life of constant pain is you. It's me. I am the one who placed myself in the prison cell. I didn't need to. I'm 58 freaking years old. How stupid that it took me this long to figure this out. So, if you're sitting in a prison cell, stop doing what you're doing now. I knew I could get to 200 pounds weight loss. I didn't know how to go to beyond it. I didn't know how to get the abs I've always wanted. I didn't know how to finally get some shoulders. I didn't know how to get a back or get rid of my back fat. Or I didn't know any of those things. So I hired somebody who's done it. Marcel, if you look at his before and after, he too was heavy. He too went through struggle, but he overcame the struggles. When you listen to his story, personal, one-to-one, and you hear what he went through to get where he is, it's inspiring. When you look at what he's achieving this minute, it is awesome what he's accomplishing. He's on fire right now. And this is the thing, is once you take yourself out of that prison cell, it permeates everything. It's changed my Bible study. It's changed my view of myself. It's changed my physical appearance. It's changing how I attack business. It's changing everything. Because now the persistency and the consistency is focused not on the goal, but on the behavior. When you start focusing on the daily good behavior is when things start to change. So I hope that encourages somebody. Get out of this prison cell you're sitting in. Start doing something different and stop relying on what you think you know. Because if you're living a life that you don't want, then clearly what you're doing isn't working. So go and get a mentor ahead of you to train you and coach you. Love you. Have a great day.